What's good with you guys, man? It's crunch time, man. Hit the like as y'all join in. Big one. We got a big one. Because we got to talk about Jaylen Brown, man, as he done pulled up on Stephen A. Smith, man. Face to face, man. And he's putting huge pressure on this man about the source, the unnamed source that Stephen A. Smith was meat riding that day. So the thing is that Jaylen Brown does not get his credit. The other day, I was really cooking with dudes on here about Jaylen Brown, man. Top 2 shooting guard in the league. Better than dudes, man. Best player on the Celtics. And we sit here and think about the fact that he's a two-way player that just won Finals MVP. What we talking about? Right? You got to really open your, you feel me, like eyes to the situation, because low-key he could be considered like one of the best players in the league. That's why when Skip Bayless came out the other day and just came out and dropped a bomb about, and shout out to Skip Bayless out the other day and just came out and dropped a bomb about, and shout out to Skip Bayless, man. Hold on, my thing froze. Yeah, because basically Skip Bayless came out and cooked about Jaylen Brown, saying he's the best player on the Celtics and he can be an MVP candidate player if he was like away from Tatum. So Skip Bayless just came out and said that. Remember, we covered the video on that, and this is a few days before. Now Jaylen Brown is pulling up on Stephen A. Smith. So I'm about to show y'all what he said a few months ago. I'm about to just go ahead and play what Stephen A. Smith said a few months ago, and then I'm going to show y'all the interview, because they had an interview, man. And this man was putting pressure right to him.
Not so much that he's underrated. It's that he's just not liked because of his, quote, "I am better than you" attitude. He knows it. It's the same reason he is not as marketable as he should be. That's what an NBA source just sent me. I don't know that to be the case. I like Jaylen Brown. I know a lot of people that like Jaylen Brown.
See, and that's the thing. Stephen A. Smith, a lot of times he'll use the safety net and say, yeah, it was a source that just told me this. You know, it's not me saying it. But he's so hell-bent on getting the message out there for whatever reason when he's sitting here trying to say, like, that's how he'll do you. He'd be like, oh, yeah, this is my brother. You know what I'm saying? Not to take any weight. I mean, not to be disrespectful. This is my brother. But an unnamed source just said da-da-da-da-da. Like, come on, dog. That's corny. So right now, Jaylen Brown has had an interview basically with Stephen A. Smith, and he's telling him off the gates, no Kevin, that we about to talk about that now. Like before we can get that straight right now.
I know you see the shirt. That's right. State your source. State your source. Yes. Oh, we're gonna get into all of that
for sure.
No question.
And honestly, I wore the shirt because like this is where I wanted to start the conversation.
Okay.
Get into it.
Yeah, he's saying we're gonna get that straight now, right now, right? Because Stephen A. Smith was trying to say, oh, we're gonna talk about it. We're gonna get into it later. Nah, man.
And honestly, I wore the shirt. And I know you see the shirt.
That's right. State your source. State your source.
Yes.
Oh, we're gonna get into all of that
for sure.
No question.
And honestly, I wore the shirt because like this is where I wanted to start the conversation.
Okay.
Get into it. And to be honest, you know,
pull the mic closer to you, so I want to make sure the audience hears you. Go ahead.
Absolutely. I think it's deeper than rap.
Mm-hmm.
Stephen A. Smith was nervous as hell. He tried to distract him. He said, pull the mic closer.
Okay. Get into it. And to be honest, you know,
pull the mic closer to you, so I want to make sure the audience hears you. Go ahead.
Absolutely. I think it's deeper than rap.
Mm-hmm.
I think it's bigger than both you and I. Like, obviously, your credentials are through the roof, you know, covering AI to First Take being the #1 show, and now taking the world by storm with your new podcast. So I wore this shirt, but I know just because of your credentials that you're never going to reveal the sources because you abide by something called journalistic integrity.
Right.
But hear me out.
Sure.
A couple months back, on your platform, you recited an unnamed source who I feel like attacked my character.
That was what we played on a cold open.
Yeah. And one, I didn't really get a chance to defend myself, and two, you know, the damage kind of already is done. And I think journalistic integrity goes two ways.
Yes, sir. $76, please.
I need to.
Yeah, so I got an advertisement. So he's saying, man, this thing go two ways. And he's basically laying it out for him, man, because Stephen A. Smith is going to have to answer this man's questions, dog.
For me, I think a lot of people were upset, and as was I, because I understand journalistic integrity, and I understand how that works, but I also understand the idea of normal integrity as well, and I also want to maintain and protect that.
Sure.
So to start off, I wanted to ask you a question.
Sure.
And profession aside, you know, as a #1 reporter with the biggest platform
yes, sir.
in the world, I hold you accountable.
Please
so, is there ever any dissension from what you report on as a man? I mean, what you report on as a reporter, and then what you stand for as an individual. Like when you go home, is there ever any dissension in the decisions that you make?
Well, for the most part, no.
Stephen A. Smith said no.
I mean, what you report on as a reporter, and then what you stand for as an individual. Like when you go home, is there ever any dissension in the decisions that you make?
Well, for the most part, no, because I find myself to be humane and fair. But in the same breath, when we take this example, let me use this example that you're talking about, but what I said was text to me about you. And by the way, others had said it as well.
So, once again, he continues to use the safety net of stuff that somebody else said. It's always something. He can't never stand on what it is that he think. Like, he'll butter you up and then say, well, listen, man, my man said this, but I don't think that, though. I mean, you my brother, though. Know what I mean?
I wasn't talking about how I feel. You and I have been cool for years. You've always been good to me.
Right. Exactly. You my brother, man, right? I mean, this is my brother. Right?
Way, others had said it as well. I wasn't talking about how I feel. You and I have been cool for years. You've always been good to me.
Oh, my, yo, look, my bad I keep pausing it, dog. This man, Stephen A. Smith, I'm starting to see what these people be talking about when it comes to Stephen A. Smith.
To be humane and fair. But in the same breath, when we take this example, let me use this example that you're talking about, but what I said was text to me about you. And by the way, others had said it as well. I wasn't talking about how I feel. You and I have been cool for years. You've always been good to me. What I was trying to say was, this brother is great. He's great on the basketball court. He's great off the basketball court. He's an individual of very high integrity, highly educated, who most people that you encounter considers you nothing short of brilliant. And yet, these opportunities that clearly you are deserving of and should be afforded to you was not.
So why don't you just leave it at that? Why don't you just leave it at that? So what you saying is after you said that people texted you to clear it up and say that he's not marketable, and you had to say that on the air? See, because my opinion, y'all, I think what Jaylen Brown is saying is that as a man, why would you still, like, okay, cool, so they try to restrict me, y'all. Look, they try to restrict me, dog. They try to restrict me already, dog. They done flagged me just for talking about Jaylen Brown, dog. But no, look. So I think what Jaylen Brown is saying is that as a man, if you sitting here saying that I'm great and you know what I'm saying, I'm this and that, I'm brilliant, why go back on that statement and downplay me just because somebody texted you their opinion? Like, what are you doing that for?
And so when I brought that up, I literally get a text in the middle of the show. And immediately after the show, I got 3 separate phone calls. And they were like, yo, this guy is not liked by some of the powers that be because he's smart, because he's outspoken, because he's principled and he's defiant and he's not easily manipulated. These are things that are costing him. I didn't look at it as something that was smearing your character. I looked at it as individuals basically pointing out that you're not liked. And I completely understand why folks who are in positions of power and decision-making positions, you wouldn't like somebody because they usually don't like folks that are principled.
Hold on, bro. So basically, just because they said that, you had to come out and basically tell the whole world that you got that text message. Like, it still don't make sense to me. Like, it's still not adding up because you basically saying you got a text from the higher ups. And they basically force you to say that.
And why folks who are in positions of power and decision-making positions, you wouldn't like somebody because they usually don't like folks that are principled.
I agree. And I wasn't holding you accountable for anything that you said.
Right.
It was that your platform is so large. You have the #1 platform in the world, First Take, your podcast now. What I was asking was, is there a dissension about what you report on, and also how you carry yourself as an individual and as a man? Like, how do you differentiate the two? But to be honest, I'm going to come clean.
Sure.
Like, I wanted to have this conversation, but honestly, I couldn't wait to address this unnamed source.
Right.
I know they probably will be watching this because people like that are always watching. And I wanted to let them know that I had a great summer. Like, just as simple as that. Like, I traveled the world. I went to Umrah. I won 2 MVPs. I, launched Black Wall Street in Oakland and made a music video. I had a blast.
Right.
So I wanted to let them know that I had a great summer. I really wanted to address them directly, but I feel like since this all kind of happened on your platform, I wanted to send a message to you, to them.
Right.
Because you're only the person that knows who the source is.
Right. Yo, he cooking this man, Stephen A. Yo, he is cooking them boys.
And I basically wanted to say to them that I think it's cowardice. I think historically, unnamed sources have attacked some of our greats. And we are not responsible for what they lack in design. Frankly, they can call all their buddies, they pals, and friends from all over the world, all the unnamed sources, and they can shove it where they got it from. Whether they think I'm marketable or not, I walk with God. I'm gonna be me and stand with my community in this life and the next, and that's my journey.
At Verizon, every phone can be the new iPhone 16.
Yeah, man. Like, hold on, I'm gonna skip this joint. This man is cooking Stephen A. Smith, man. And it's crazy. Stephen A. Smith keep on talking about them sources, man. Like he not explaining. Stephen A. Smith not explaining why he had to say what he said though. And they flagged me just for doing this video, man, to get the views down. But it's all
I walk
good,
with
dog.
God. I'm gonna be me and stand with my community in this life and the next, and that's my journalistic integrity.
Okay.
I wanted to get that off my chest. Sure. Now we can start the interview.
You can get it all off your
He
chest.
said we had to get that. He said we was gonna get that straight first before we do the interview, and this is what he told Stephen A. So at the end of the day, man, Stephen A. man, like Stephen A. going outside.
And the next, and that's my journalistic integrity.
Okay.
I wanted to get that off my chest. Sure. Now we can start the interview.
You can get it all off your chest. I'm not going away because I got.
Yeah, Jaylen Brown, my second favorite player, dog, behind Kyrie. A crunch. Jaylen Brown might have just became my second favorite player behind Bron, yo. He's standing up, bro. Jaylen Brown, my second favorite player behind Kyrie, dog. And I don't know.
I'll tell you something. I don't understand why.
You said nobody gonna be talking about Jaylen Brown in 5 years, but we still talk about dudes that won the Finals MVP 5 years ago. We talk about Iggy, we talk about Kawhi. Jaylen Brown was better than Jaylen Brown Finals MVP. At least is better than theirs.
Somebody saying what others may feel about you to hold you back, and they know that you've done nothing to deserve it. I don't understand how that's cowardice for them to may feel about you to hold you back, and they know that you've done nothing to deserve it. I don't understand how that's cowardice for them to talk about. I'm looking at you, and I think about.
I bet somebody was calling me.
And they know that you've done nothing to deserve it. I don't understand how that's cowardice for them to talk about what somebody else is feeling. Like, for example, I'm looking at you, and I think about Bill Russell, how principled he was. I think about Muhammad Ali, how principled he was. I think about Kurt Flood, who was the father, of free agency. When you think about what he did in Major League Baseball, I think about Jackie Robinson integrating the sport of baseball. I think about so many highly educated, highly accomplished, highly principled individuals. The word likability is not something that you would attach to them when it came to Madison Avenue and marketability and promotion. So somebody saying this guy is not liked because of that reason. That's not them insulting you. That's not them calling you out. It's them saying the world that we're living in, you're not somebody that's easy to.
It's cowardice because they're using you to say it. And yeah, bro, Stephen A. Smith is just yapping, bro. You yapping away about nonsense, bro. Bringing up Jackie Robinson. And like, bro, at the end of the day, he's saying he doesn't agree with the statement they made. So why are you saying it? Why are you standing for their statement, bro? That shit is whack. That's whack, bro. You already said what you said. Like you said, you think Jaylen Brown is great. He's brilliant. He need to be on the Olympics. He need to be doing this and that. So just leave it at that, bro. You're not standing on nothing, bro. This man is probably the weakest reporter I've ever seen in my life. I'm not going to lie to you, dog. I used to think Stephen A. Smith knew what he was doing. He really don't.
Troll. You're somebody, you stand on your own, and you're your own man.
For sure.
What's the problem with that?
It's a balance, because it's one, you could critique someone's performance,
okay,
but then also if you're attacking their character. Like, they didn't just say that I wasn't liked, they said I wasn't marketable, they said I was arrogant, I carried myself with a certain demeanor, and that line gets crossed between critiquing someone's performance, not liking them for whatever reason, and then attacking someone's character. I think journalistic integrity requires it to go both ways. I never had a chance to respond or defend myself, one, because they're never going to reveal themselves, and two, the damage is already done. So what I'm speaking to is the unnamed sources. Like, if you speak on it, you say something because we have a relationship, at least I can look at you and we can go back and forth about what it is that we believe or what it is that we don't believe. An unnamed source, like, what is that? And to be honest, it reminds me, I think it has familiarity with when I was entering the draft.
2016 third overall pick.
What was that? Do you remember?
I do not. I'm sorry.
When I got drafted, they said that I was too smart. A source, an unnamed source,
okay,
said that I was too smart to be a basketball player or something like that, and that would hurt my draft stock because it was a form of questioning authority. And this unnamed source, now said
back in 2016.
Back in 2016, it was a very popular, subject at the time, and this source kind of reminds me of that as well, And I actually figured out who that source was.
Okay.
But I know because of your credentials, your background, your journalistic integrity, we never gonna figure out who that one is.
You're not.
Yeah.
You're not. You're not. I'm not gonna let that happen because I protect my sources. But I will tell you this: there's also a line that I wouldn't allow to be crossed. Like if somebody were to call up and to get into your personal business and try to attack you, I'd have never said anything like that. I'd never let something like that come out of my mouth over the airways or anything like that. But somebody pointing to this individual that went to Cal, this individual. I want to read something here. At the time that last year when you agreed to your new contract.
Like, yeah, man, this man Stephen A. Smith is cooked. He's cooked, bro. This man is the ultimate goalpost mover. And I like, bro, y'all go watch this interview, man. It's on NBA on ESPN channel on YouTube. You can just see the body language. This man Stephen A. Smith is mad nervous, bro. It's like he don't know what to say. He not responding to nothing that Jaylen Brown is saying. But at the end of the day, I really do respect how Jaylen Brown is standing on business about this. He definitely moved up on my list. You know what I'm saying? You got to give him his credit. He might be, you know what I'm saying? He got to be on a level with any player in the league right now as far as him winning the Finals MVP, being an elite two-way player. Once he worked on his games more, the Celtics got over the hump. He's the closer for the Celtics. We're going to keep covering Jaylen Brown, especially all season, man. I think they play tonight. To what Stephen A. Smith said.
Pointing to this individual that went to Cal, this individual. I want to read something here. At the time that last year when you agreed to your new contract extension, 5 years, over $300 million, it says here, you're the youngest person to ever hold a lecture at Harvard, became an MIT Media Lab fellow, was offered a NASA internship, became the NBA Players Association youngest vice president at the age of 22 years of age. And when your historic contract was finalized, you were in a robotics session at MIT. Is that true?
That's true.
So with all of that being true, I look at somebody like yourself and I don't consider it a negative because the words that emanated out of somebody's mouth about what was being felt about you forced us to look into your background even more and ask the question, what the hell is wrong with him?
Absolutely.
Look at his intellect. Look at the fact that he doesn't get in trouble. Look at the fact that he's a great player on both ends of the floor. It forced us all to look at you and then it had me screaming, why the hell isn't he all NBA? Why the hell isn't he on the Olympic team? You see what I'm saying?
It might have been misconstrued,
Correct.
maybe in my tone, but my issue was never with you. It was with the unnamed source.
But I knew that because your family told me.
I do hold you accountable for your platform. I think we should hold each other accountable.
Right.
You have the biggest and largest platform. I feel like one of the biggest reporters in the U.S. So I think that should have some dissension at the end of the day.
No problem with that.
Who I always wanted to address, who I couldn't wait, was this source.
Right.
So that's why I wanted to iterate to you, to reiterate back to them that whether they think I'm marketable or not, whether they think I'm liked or not, it's not stopping nothing. They can do their worst. And I'm going to stand with my community. And I'm going to be myself in this life and the next. And that's what I stand on.
Man, Jaylen Brown still on business, man. Oh, man. Y'all let me know how y'all feel about that, man.